So the male-led campaign aims to make women's safety a men's issue too. And for more, we're joined in the studio by White Ribbon Ambassador John Caldwell, and the Chief Executive of White Ribbon, Libby Davies, joins us now from Canberra. Good morning to both of you, and thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning,
Paul, if I can start with you, why did you get involved with the White Ribbon campaign?
I grew up in a house that was plagued by domestic violence. My father was terribly violent towards my mother. So I guess as a kid, hiding under the bed, I always felt so helpless. And now, as an adult, I don't need to. And I guess it's good for me. I get to take back the power that I lost as a kid, but also to educate other children that you don't have to actually stay silent yourself. That even for kids, there are people you can talk to. And we really are trying to push that breaking the silence here.
How intimidating was it as a kid to be in your personal situation, John?
It was intimidating. It was horrific, actually. I think as a child, hiding under a bed, hearing screams outside and not sure what you're going to find when you eventually walk out. And I used to liken it to the eye of a cyclone. It would go quiet for a minute and you think, is it safe to go out? And then it erupts again. So living in that absolute fear, and I think I say to adults who probably underestimate it sometimes, if you can think of any time where something's happened and you've had that feeling in your stomach, that sick, scared feeling. As a child, I mean, I lived like that most days at home. So it's not a great feeling to have.
John, did you feel there was anyone in your family, and blokes in particular, who you could talk to and you could tell about this, or was it just something that stayed inside your four walls?
Absolutely stayed in the four walls. Well, didn't stay in the four walls. I think that's the scary thing. It was known what was going on outside of the house and nobody would do anything. And I think that's why White Ribbon is so important, because it is a male-led campaign. It is saying to men, and you said it just before, which is great, it starts as simple as a joke made about a woman or toward a woman, and all you can do as a man in society is your circle of influence and how you can fix that, and that is, don't let the boys at the pub make that joke. Don't let someone at work make that joke. And that's where it all starts.
Libby Davies, how important is it for ambassadors like John, male ambassadors, to be out there spreading this message as part of the White Ribbon campaign?
Good morning, Michael. Yes, they're very much the essence of the campaign. That's, as John has referred to, it is about men speaking out about the issue of violence against women. It's about men leading the action, because most of this violence against women is perpetrated by men. And so men need to be speaking to their mates and using their influence to change those attitudes and behaviours start with a sexist joke, but we want to progress to ensure that those sexist jokes don't continue to degrade and denigrate women, which can lead to this whole issue of perpetrating violence against women.
We've had some appalling instances and examples of this over the last year or so, Libby, and this has been so troubling for many Australians. Of course, the death of Luke Batty and the extraordinary campaign that's been led by his mother, Rosie Batty. How do you think that's changed the understanding of Australians generally about this issue?
I think there has been a huge enhancement in awareness of the issue of violence against women, and for many, many years the drive and the push has come from women's groups all over Australia, all over the world. It's been part of particularly the second wave of feminism to really put this issue on the agenda, and now where we are now in this year, 2014, has seen the engagement of men and the inclusion of men in very effective action to address this issue. And I think that's the beauty of the White Ribbon campaign. It is about men speaking out, and it is giving men the tools and the strategies to be those drivers of change.
John, can I ask you how you felt when you heard the news of the death of Luke Batty?
Absolutely horrified. I think, you know, one of the things, and it was not just when I heard it, it's when I saw his photo and I thought, that could have been me. And never before have I really thought of myself as one of the lucky ones, but that made me feel like I was one of the lucky ones. But I mean, it's a hairline that I was a lucky one. It came very close at times. So it's just tragic, and to think that it's still continuing in this day and age. And I mean, that's not to say we haven't come a long way. We absolutely have come a long way. I think the fact that for the Australian of the Year, I mean, I was 2014 and domestic violence is one of my causes. We've got Rosie 2015 for Victoria. So people are paying attention and they're taking this as serious as it needs to be.
Do you detect, and you've travelled a fair bit as the Victorian Australian of the Year and as the White Ribbon Ambassador, detect noticeable changes, though, in attitudes amongst men?
Noticeable change, but I think we do have a long way to go. I think there was a YouTube video going around recently where an experiment in Sweden, and they pretended they were in a domestic violence scuffle in a lift. Out of 53 people that came in and out of that lift, one person actually intervened, and it was a woman. The majority of the 53 were men who just ignored it. So that shows we do still have a long way to go.
Libby, it's going to be interesting in Canberra today that there's an important breakfast, of course, that's being held for White Ribbon Day. The Prime Minister is attending. How important is it that you hear and that Australians hear the leadership voices?
I think it's critical. We had that yesterday with the police commissioners, all of whom are White Ribbon ambassadors. And today this is a further expression of all our senators and members and their commitment. And it's being started by a flyover by a RAF Hercules aircraft with a very giant white ribbon on its tail, further expression of commitment of our armed forces to this issue as well. Of course, the Royal Australian Navy is a white ribbon accredited workplace. The Army is working towards that, and so this expression of leadership is critical to drive, but it's not just our leaders, it's the grassroots community that are also pivotal in driving this engagement. And we'll have over 1,000 events across Australia which highlight the community's commitment to driving change.
Libby Davies and John Caldwell, it's a pleasure to have you both on the program this morning. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Libby.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.